This topic is least common multiple, also called L.C.M. First, we need to understand what least common multiple is. As a definition, least common multiple is the smallest positive number that can be divided by a group of numbers, normally two of them, but they can be three or more. Let's see a little example of what is least common multiple with numbers. Imagine we are looking to the least common multiple between 2 and 3. So by definition is the smallest positive number that can be divided by this group of numbers, 2 and 3. So let's see all the positive numbers. We have number 1. Number 1 is not divisible by 2 or 3. Number 2 is only divided by 2 but not by 3. Number 3 is divided by 3 but not by 2. Number 4 is divided by 2 but not by 3. Number 5 is divided not by 2 or 3. And number 6 is divided by both 2 and 3. So 6 will be the least common multiple of 2 and 3. So this is like the definition of what is least common multiple, but we are not going to make a list from 1 to 100 or something like that to find it. We will use another procedure that it's called prime number factorization. Prime number factorization. So we will use prime numbers. So we need to define what are prime numbers. Prime numbers are those numbers that are divided only by themselves and by 1. Some prime numbers are 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, etc. I will put a little image of prime numbers, so if you need them, you have to access it from the video. So let's see. Here on this image, we can see prime numbers from 2 until 97. So we can use these prime numbers in order to make the division or the prime number factorization. So it's important you to know them. Maybe we will use more 2 until 23, but it's a good idea to know all numbers for all prime numbers from 2 until 97. So let's see some examples of how we find the least common multiple of a group of numbers using prime factorization method. So the first example, we are looking for the LCM of 6 and 8. So what we need to do is to put our numbers in a little like table, and we are going to divide it by prime numbers until we get 1 in both numbers. So first we can use division by number 2. We can use divisibility criteria that we saw in the last classes. So number 6 can get divided by 2 and we get 3. 8 can be divided by 2 and we get 4. We can continue using number 2. 3 is not divisible by 2, but 4 is divisible by 2. We can continue using 2. We will get 3 and number 1. So I have finished this part, but we need to continue with number 3. So 3 can be divided by 3. I get number 1. So I have finished with prime factorization. To know which is the LCM, we need to multiply all of these numbers. So if I multiply 2 by 2 by 2 by 3, we will get the least common multiple, that is 8 plus 3, multiplied by 3, sorry, we will get 24. So the least common multiple of 6 and 8, it will be 24. Let's see another example. If we got, I don't know, 12 and 36. So if we got 12 and 36, we can use it. We put our numbers, 12 and 36. We put a little line here, and we start factoring. We can use the number 2, so we will get 6 and we will get 18. We can continue with number 2, we will get 3 and 9. We can use 3 and we will get 1. I have finished this part. We can get 3. I will get 1, so I finished this part. So this is the least common multiple, so 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 and multiplied by 3. This is 4 multiplied by 9. We will get 36. So the least common multiple between 12 and 36 is 36. We are going to see another example. Imagine you have, I don't know, 5 and 27. So what we need to do is the same. We need to put 5, 27, a little line, and we start. Here we cannot start with 2, but because 5 and 27 are not divided by 2, so we can start with number 3. That will get us 5 and 9. We will get another 3. We will get 3 and 5, another 3. Now we get 1. We have finished this part, but we need to finish the other part that will get us 1. So I have finished it. To know the least common multiple, you need to multiply this part. So it's 3 plus 3, multiplied by 3 and 3, multiplied by 5. So we will get 27 times 5. So we will get 5 here, 3 there. So the least common multiple between 5 and 27 is 135. Let's see another example, because we said that the least common multiple is normally used with 2 numbers, but we can use 3 or more. So let's see, if I got like 6, 10, and maybe 15. So if we are looking for the least common multiple of 6, 10, and 15, the procedure is the same. We put the 3 numbers, 6, 10, and 15. We put a little line, and we start using prime numbers to factorize. So we start with number 2. We will get 3, 5, and 15. We can continue with number 3. That will give us 1, 5, and 5. So I have finished this part. I need to continue with the other. I can get a 5, so it's 1 and 1. So to obtain the least common multiple, we need to multiply these 3 numbers. 2 times 3 multiplied by 5. That will give us 6 times 5, and that will give us 30. So 30, it's the least common multiple of 6, 10, and 15. Let's see another example of 3 numbers. Maybe we have 12, 15, and I don't know, 38. So if we got 12, 15, and 38, the procedure is the same. 12, 15, 38. We can start doing division by number 2. We will get 6, 15, 19. We can continue using number 2. We will get 3, 15, 19. We can continue with number 3. That will give us 1. So I have finished this part. That will give us 5 and 19. We will use 5. I have finished this part, but I need to divide 19. If we saw here, 19 is also a prime number, so I need to use 19 to divide and to obtain a 1. To obtain the least common multiple, we need to multiply all of this, so it's 2 times 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 19. So this part get us 12 times 5 times 19. So that will give us 60 times 19. So if we multiply 19 by 60, it will give us 1140. So the least common multiple between 12, 15, and 38, it will be 1140. Least common multiple, it's also very important in fractions because it will help us in the future to add or subtract fractions. So we will need to review today how to find the least common multiple in fractions. It is important that least common multiple in fractions, it's only on denominator. Remember, denominator is the bottom part of a fraction, deno, and the top part is numerator. So remember, we are only looking for denominator for LCM. So let's see what we need to do if we got two fractions, how to look for the least common denominator. So if we have two fractions, like, I don't know, 1/2 and 3/4. If we are going to look to a least common denominator in fractions, it's also called least common denominator, but it's the same process to look for a least common multiple. So LCD, it's not a drug, it's least common denominator. So let's see how to look for it. It's the same process. We are going to use prime factorization method. So what we are going to do is we put number 2 and number 4. We are going to do the prime factorization. We divide by 2, it will get us a 1 and a 2. I have finished this part, but I need to do this part. So the least common multiple between 2 and 4 is 2 times 2, so it's 4. So the least common denominator, it's 4. Now, it's going to be important that we know how to transform these fractions to this common denominator. So we are going to transform them to fourths. For the second one, it's easy because it has a 4, so we'll stay the same. The first one, if we saw, 2 gets now to a 4. So what we did with number 2 in order to get a 4, we multiply it by 2. So this one, we need to multiply it by 2 also, and we will get 2/4. And that's how we convert fractions in order to have the same denominator using least common denominator. Let's see another example. If we have, I don't know, maybe 3/5 and 7/8. if we want to look or how to look for the least common denominator, we can use prime factorization of 5 and 8. So we put a little line. We start dividing by 2. We get a 4. We get a 5 here. Divide by 2. We get a 2 here and a 5 here. We divide by 2. It gets a 1. We have finished this part. We have a 5 here. We divide by 5 and we will get a 1. So the least common multiple between those numbers is 2 times 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 5. That will give us 8 times 5. That will give us a 40. So to convert this fraction to the same denominator, they will become fractions with denominator 40. So we need to look what are we doing with the denominator in order to become 40. So the first one gets multiplied by 8 to become 40. So number 3 must also multiply by 4. It will give us 24. Let's see with the second fraction. 8 gets multiplied by 5. So number 7 also gets multiplied by 5. It will give us 35 40s. So this is the process to obtain the same or the common denominator of two fractions. We will see another 2 or 3 examples, but this is the most important part of using the least common multiple to find the common multiple between two denominators and then changing a fraction to have the same or the common denominator. We can do the process of finding a least common denominator also with 3 fractions, as we did it with 3 numbers to find the least common multiple. We can also look for the least common denominator in 3 fractions. Sorry. The process is very similar. We need to use the 3 numbers 4, 6, and 14. We are going to do the prime factorization. We start using number 2. We get 2, 3, and 7. We continue using number 2. We'll get 1, 3, and 7. We use number 3. We will get 1. We finish here, but we need to finish number 7. 7 is a prime number, so we will get this part. So the least common multiple between these numbers is 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 7. That will give us 21 multiplied by 4. That will give us 84. So the least common multiple between these 3 numbers is 84. So we can transform our fractions to have the same denominator, 84, 84, and 84. So let's see what we do or what we did with every denominator to convert it to 84. So 4 gets converted to 84. We multiply 4 by 21 to get 84. So we need to multiply number 3 by 21 to get the same fraction. So we will get 63 over 84. In the second fraction, 6 is multiplied by 14 in order. So we need also to multiply 5 by 14 to get this number. So it will get us 70 over 84. And let's see the last one, 14 to get 84. We get multiplied by 6. So we need to multiply also number 9 by 6. and we will get 54 over 84. So this is how we convert the top fractions 3/4, 5/6, and 9/14 to the same or the common denominator. We will see only one more example with mixed numbers. So if we want to look for the least common denominator in two mixed numbers, what I recommend is to convert the mixed number to improper fractions and then look for the least common denominator of the fractions. So remember, to convert it, we need to multiply 8 by 5 and add the top part. So we will get 8 doesn't move. 8 times 5 is 40. If we add 5 is 45 eighths. And the other one we can convert it. 10 times 7, we add 7, we will get 77 tenths. So now that we have two fractions, is the similar process to find the least common denominator. So we will use 8 and 10. We will try to use prime factorization, so divide by 2, divide another time by 2, another time by 2. We have finished this part. We can use 5 in order to finish this part. So the least common multiple between 8 and 10 must be the multiplication of these numbers, 2 and 2 and 2 and 5. That will give us 10 times 4. That will give us a 40. So we need to convert these fractions to 40 to find the fractions with the same denominator. So what happened? 8 gets multiplied by 5 in order to get 40. So 45 needs to get multiplied by 5. So we will get 225 40s, and 10 is multiplied by 4 to get the 40. So 77 must be multiplied by 4. 77 must be multiplied by 4. We will get 308. So this way we can find these two fractions that have the same denominator and are equivalent to our mixed numbers. So now we have completed this task. You can now make activity number 5 and upload it to Moodle when you have finished it. It was a pleasure, and thank you.